AITA for not voting in this election? I did not vote this election season. I've been wrestling with this choice for a while now, but ultimately I decided to abstain. To some people, this might sound selfish or irresponsible. After all, we're constantly told that voting is not only a right, but a duty. But I've come to view the entire system as fundamentally corrupt and broken, and I can't justify participating in something that feels more like an illusion of choice than an actual democracy. In my mind, by casting a vote, I'd only be perpetuating a cycle that I believe keeps the status quo in place. I don't see how my participation in this would change anything for the better. Instead, it would just feel like going along with a game I don't want to play. I know a lot of people will probably disagree with me here, and that's okay. But I've come to the belief that nearly all politicians are flawed in ways that make them unfit for true leadership. When I look at our political landscape, I see individuals who are primarily driven by personal ambition, rather than a genuine desire to serve the public. They make promises they can't keep, twist facts to suit their agendas, and often act in ways that make me wonder if they're truly in touch with reality. For instance, I can't understand how someone would not only be willing but actively campaign for a position of such intense responsibility, high stakes, and constant scrutiny. Politics today is more of a popularity contest than anything else, and the quest for power brings out some of the worst traits in people. It's difficult to trust someone who wants that kind of authority, given how history has shown that power can easily corrupt. It doesn't help that the political system also boxes people in. Candidates are tied to certain teams, and their supporters often feel obligated to pick a side, rally around it, and defend it, even if it means ignoring or excusing obvious flaws. This sort of tribalism only divides people further, creating an us versus them mentality that fuels anger, hostility, and violence. I see politics as one of the primary forces causing division in society, creating conflicts that only seem to benefit those at the top. The rest of us are left grappling with the fallout, while elites continue to live comfortably. And it's not just ideological disagreements, it's about war, too. The constant tension between nations, the endless cycle of conflicts, and the lives lost or destroyed. All these things ultimately line the pockets of a select few who profit from human suffering. Given all of this, it's hard for me to understand why I should participate in a system that upholds and benefits from this cycle. So, when my friend recently asked me how I felt about the election results, I told her exactly that. I didn't mince words, and maybe that was part of the issue. I explained that I'm jaded by the whole thing. I feel disillusioned and, honestly, apathetic. It's not that I don't care about the world or the people around me. I absolutely do. But I don't see how my single vote will change the deep-rooted problems we face. I watch from the sidelines, so to speak, and I still pay attention to what's going on. I'm informed, and I voice my opinions when I feel like it's appropriate or someone genuinely wants to hear them. But I no longer feel that urge to jump into the fray or champion a cause that's tied to one party or another. Now, I get that this might make me seem like an outsider or someone who doesn't care. That's been made painfully clear to me after my conversation with my friend. When I shared my perspective with her, she was visibly shocked and even a little disgusted. She listened, but I could tell she wasn't really hearing me. After I finished, she told me that my choice not to vote was selfish. She said that by abstaining, I was essentially signaling that I don't care about important issues like women's rights, the environment, or the future of our country. Her exact words stung. I thought we'd be able to agree to disagree, but she seemed to take my decision personally, as if I'd betrayed her or the causes she holds dear. This has been hard to process because we've known each other for so long, and I genuinely respect her and her opinions. I've always believed that good friendships can survive differing views, and I thought she'd understand where I was coming from, even if she didn't agree. But instead of a conversation, it felt like an attack on my character. I tried explaining that my choice wasn't about not caring, it's about a fundamental disagreement with the system itself. I believe it's possible to care deeply about issues and still feel like voting isn't the best or only way to make a difference. But my friend wasn't having it. She couldn't see past her own view that voting is a moral obligation, and that abstaining is a betrayal of that. It's not that I'm oblivious to the issues she mentioned. I care about women's rights, the climate, and countless other concerns that affect us all. But I don't believe that casting a vote for a candidate who vaguely supports these causes is the most effective way to address them. In my mind, these issues require systemic changes that go far beyond electing one person over another. I've become more interested in direct action, supporting grassroots organizations and advocating for change outside the political arena. But I don't expect everyone to feel the same way, and I don't judge others for choosing to vote. Voting works for some people. It just doesn't for me. I've spent a lot of time reflecting on my stance, especially after this conversation with my friend. I understand why people feel passionately about voting, and I know it's a way for many to feel connected to a larger cause. But I can't bring myself to engage with something I don't believe in, just to meet others' expectations. To me, it's about authenticity and not compromising my values. I want to be honest about my beliefs, even if they're unpopular. However, this has made me question if I'm failing to see something crucial. Am I really hurting people by not voting? Should I just set aside my principles for the greater good? Or does staying true to my beliefs matter more? In the end, this has been an eye-opening experience. It's difficult feeling like my character is being judged over a decision I made after careful thought and reflection. I respect my friend's choice to vote and engage in the political process. I just wish she could respect my choice not to, without assuming it means I'm indifferent or selfish. This has made me question our friendship in ways I never expected. I don't mind disagreement. In fact, I think it's healthy. But I do mind when my motives and values are questioned, especially by someone who has known me for so long. So, am I the for not voting? Am I really as selfish and indifferent as my friend thinks? Or is it possible to care deeply about important issues without seeing voting as the only or best way to make a difference?